Okay, I'm finally all moved into this 2024 Freightliner Cascadia. So let's take a look around the outside and mostly the inside and see what kind of differences there may be between the 2024s and our older ones. Just overall, I'd say there's not much difference as far as what the outside looks like on these 2024s. Everything, I don't think they made any major changes. Now, one thing I did notice is, after meeting my meat guy in Rockport a couple days, that this fifth wheel may be a little higher off the ground than his 2021. It also has one of the in-cab release fifth wheels. So I noticed when I drop it, it's a little high for him. And another thing you might see is I got my 5.5 foot Francis on there and not the stock antenna. But we'll take a look on the inside and see why that is. Yeah, just getting into the truck, it's not much difference. What I did have to do when I moved in here was clean up these handrails. It's been a couple weeks in the city and those guys use their gloves all the time, so they're pretty nasty. A little bit of brake cleaner and a rag, got those cleaned up. Mostly inside looks pretty much the same. Not much difference. All the gauges, the dash works the same. Everything is set up the same as probably from the 19s on up. Now the main difference on the inside is up here is where the CB radio was on the older ones. But in here there's a cubby, but there's no mounts or hookups or coax or anything. And they have the whole thing down here on the dash, like the I think our 18s, 17s and 18s had it. And you might have seen my shorts video on setting the SWRs on this, and that is why I have my 5.5 foot Francis on here instead of the stock antenna. So here's the deal on the CB radio and the differences on the antennas. Now I've had three or four Freightliners since we've had them, and I've had to do it different on every truck almost. On some trucks you can use the stock antenna, stock coax, plug it in the radio, SWRs check out just fine. On other ones they don't. And the way I check it is, the first thing I do is hook the radio up to the stock antenna, stock coax, and I press the microphone down, and right here is an antenna light. And if that comes on when you key down, you got a problem in your coax or your antenna, something. You might have a broken antenna, broken coax, or just not enough of one or the other. When I did, I hooked it up in here, put it in, keyed down, the antenna light came on, and I knew that issue. What I do usually first is change the antenna. I take the stock one out and put my 5.5 foot Francis antenna on there. I check the antenna light, see if it comes on when I key down, and when I modulate real good, it didn't come on this truck, so I knew that was probably a problem. So then I put my SWR meter on it and everything was good. Under 1.5 all the way across the board. If I was talking on the radio all the time and had a nice custom Pete or something like that, I would go get them checked at a CB shop and get them adjusted to where they're really down there close to zero as far as I could get them. The only radio I ever had that I could get that low was a Galaxy 88, I think. But here's the reason why I think that there's a difference in the trucks on what you might have to do. Because I've even had a truck where the antenna didn't do it, but I had to put like 9 foot of extra coax on the coax between the stock coax and my radio, and then that did it. But what I think it is when they manufacture these trucks and they run the coax from the antenna mount down through the dash and to wherever it comes out to the radio, either here or up at the top, I don't think they're using a uniform length of coax for every truck. I think they're reeling it off a reel, and some guys are getting maybe close to 18 foot, and some of the guys that are doing it just cut it off as short as they can get it to go from one to the other. So I'm thinking these trucks don't have 18 foot of coax, and that's what you're supposed to need in order for everything to work together and tune up right. So I don't think they have 18 foot of coax, and that's why I think there's a difference why you got to figure out if you need more antenna or if you need more coax, or sometimes on one truck I needed both in order to get the SWRs down. So I probably was close to 18 foot total coax between my 9 foot and what's in the truck, and then with my antenna it worked out real well. So that's the differences, not a lot. It's a little bit easier to hook up the radio here, and then up on the top it's easier to strap on. All the hookups are the old-fashioned hookups where you connect your wires. It worked out really well. I don't know if you can see, I got my little speaker here instead of the big one. This one works good. So that's the 2024 Cascadia setup for this truck. When I got in, it only had not even 9,000 miles, and I don't know what I got now, but it was easy to clean up because it was pretty new. Didn't have to scrub the floors, just kind of swept them out and then put my shiny stuff down. And here we go. We're gonna see how it runs. So far, so good. So let me know what you think about my theory on the antennas and the coax in these trucks. If you think it has some validity to it. Tell me what you think about the 2024 Freightliners. The good, the bad, and it's kind of ugly, but that's what we got. So stick around, watch some more of my videos. I appreciate it if you do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already, and if you have, I appreciate that. It really helps me out, and we'll see you later.